name's Joel Bundy. I am the owner of Bundy's Bagels. I've been doing this for, actually today is my 4-year anniversary of doing this. I opened June 12th of 2014. I was actually a garbage man for 10 years before opening this. I know, drastic change. Never actually worked in the food industry before opening the food cart, so that was very entertaining to get used to put it mildly. Yeah, so I grew up actually out off of about 181st between like Halsey and Gleason area here in Portland. Kind of like the Portland-Gresham split, really. And only ever moved away just to go to college. That was pretty much it, and then never could get away again. Yeah, growing up I was pretty much the same person I am now. Not much has changed. I've always been the more outgoing, outspoken type of, crazy person, which is good. Works well with running a food cart. I was sitting at home bored out of my mind, and I typed into Google search, what should you do when you're bored? And it said, try cooking or baking. And so I typed in, what should I cook or bake? And searched around for a bit and found bagels. And decided that I wanted to make some. And the first batch I ever made was about the biggest failure I've ever had in my life. So I don't like to fail that miserably at anything. So I just kept doing it. And it was always whenever I didn't have any friends around, or like everyone was busy doing other things. Oh, I'm home alone. It's good. I'll just make another batch of bagels. I'll just kind of see how this new idea works out. And it took about 25 times before I finally had a batch that was actually edible. And this is probably a year into it, actually. Just like I said, whenever I didn't have anything else to do, I would just go to the store, buy everything I need, run back home, and just crank through another batch. Baking anything, you have to be exact. Like, it is just an exact art form, is what I've always called it, because you can mess up by like 1 gram too much of yeast and the dough rises too much. You have to throw away a whole batch of bagels because you missed something by just the tiniest amount. And so I always keep my focus on, the exact recipe that I've come up with, the exact process, all that stuff, but it's still, there's a little bit of love to everyone. I've thought about how to answer that so many times, because having been a garbage man for so many years and then just randomly taking this huge chance, I had a lot of people that were looking at me like I was a crazy person. I had a solid career set ahead of me, I had a retirement, full benefits, like everything was good to go, and everyone's looking at me like, why are you throwing this all away? Why are you giving all this up for just like some weird idea you have? And it's because I just didn't stop doing things. And that's what I always tell people. It's what I've told like my nephews and everything else when they're wondering like what school to go to, what career to take, all this stuff. I'm like, I didn't know I was gonna be running if you told me at age 19 I was gonna run a bagel food cart, I'd say you're fit for a straitjacket. Like, there's no way that in my mind that was gonna happen. But that's just because I didn't stop doing things. I tried stuff all the time. I constantly went back to school just to study like economics and business, and then I randomly took an architecture class because I was curious. And it's just a matter of, you don't have to learn everything from school. You can also do side projects that, if it intrigues you, just go do it. Normally most things to try out are going to cost you about $50. Like, if you're unless you need like a bunch of power tools or something like that to do it with, you can normally just give things a try, or just start building something or putting things together and making weird stuff. Like, eventually you'll find your passion if you just keep trying new things. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but I have slowly over the last year or two started being able to like take some random time off and still keep the food cart open, which is great. Like, another month or two, I have my mom's 60th birthday coming up. She's gonna hate me for admitting her age on this, but yeah, so whole family's going to Reno for that, and I know a lot of people are going, and I want to be able to join. And so I just decided, okay, I have enough people that are helping me out with this to where now I can actually take some time away and enjoy a little bit of free time here and there. It's tough to find the daily free time though, because a lot of times if someone calls in sick, or if something happens, family emergency or anything like that, it's like it either shuts the cart down or you have to just keep working. And so it's tough to find the business life balance. I'm looking at the franchise options actually, and that's just because I've learned how to still have the same quality of bagels and be able to mass produce them. So I could go, you know, if I found someone that's interested in doing a franchise, I can actually go teach them how to do larger production and still get the same quality, because that's my main focus. Is like the quality of the bagels is what my name is on there for, is because I will put my stamp of approval on the bagels or I will be closed that day. And that's happened before, where the bagels didn't turn out right and I just said, nope, I'm done. Like, we're done today, it's not going to be open. But that has been my main focus, is just the idea of spreading the, you know, shops throughout the city or throughout the country. You know, you gotta have some dream big out there, right? I always say it's the simplicity in the process, because my process with how I make them is quite a bit more elongated than a lot of places that I've talked to, and it's because I won't speed anything up. I don't mind doing larger production, but I refuse to do the more rapid process, which is what a lot of places that I've talked to tend to do. Is they'll steam it instead of, or they'll do some rapid proofing or anything, whereas mine sit in the open air to proof, and like at least the first rising process, and so I think those little things play a factor in the fermentation of the yeast affecting with the other ingredients, stuff like that gives it a little bit different flavor. It'll add some extra difference of texture to it, and there's I did a lot of research of how bagels were originally made, which there's no definitive answer to that, but I still focused on the story that I like the most, and so yeah, that played a big factor in it for me as well. And so yeah, the food cart is actually just a half a block north of Hawthorne Boulevard on Southeast 33rd Avenue. It's right between the House of Vintage and the Hazel Room and Altair building.